It is 7:30 on the dot now, and a new statewide fuel standard could cost drivers more at the pump.
We all want clean water. We all want our children to have a healthy environment to go out and play in.
Up ahead, we hear from both sides about the impacts.
Progress continues toward vaccinating the full adult population across the U.S. This morning, we're looking into when people under 18 years old could get their first shot at a vaccine.
And we're taking you outside early on this Thursday morning, 7:30, and the sun is up. I'll let you know what that does to our temperatures later today.
Up with KREM begins now.
Well, the Seattle storm is getting a new look. We want to check out the logo. Yeah, take a look at that. It includes the same team colors, but now includes the Space Needle sitting within a basketball rim. The top of the design is also intended to represent the peak of Mount Rainier. It's the first redesign since the team debuted back in 2000. Hey, and to celebrate, they put the flag on top of the Space Needle. Take a look at that.
Ooh. Now it's time to test the brain of the guy above me. Joshua, how often do teams change, or how rare is it for a team to change its logo?
It's pretty rare. It usually comes from, it could be anything from a former logo being deemed problematic. We've covered that over the last couple of years across sports. This could also just be a bit of a refresher. So, I mean, said it's the first time since 2000. It's pretty rare. I would say if it's not problematic like this, it's just kind of a fresh look. It's a while. It could be a little while. There's some teams that have never changed their logo.
What?
Yeah. So.
See, I knew to ask you. Oh, all right. Well, time to dive into weather, I guess, and get you out the door on this Thursday morning, because look at that. Sun's up and it is beautiful. Temperatures hanging lovely in the mid-30s here in Spokane early on this morning. And around the inland northwest, we're pretty close to there. 32 in Moses Lake, 32 in Coeur d'Alene, 30 in Sandpoint now as the sun comes up and warms things up, 33 in Wenatchee, and ooh, we'll see a couple clouds try to move in, but our sinking air overhead is going to say, no, 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 stay at bay. We'll get a few more clouds than what we've seen the past couple of days. I do think that today is a mostly sunny day with a little bit of cloud cover that moves in, but a lot of that kind of dies off right before it gets to us thanks to sinking air overhead. Friday, we'll see a little more cloud cover, especially in the second half of the day as our whole weather pattern starts to shift out to the east. But here you go. Today, temperatures climbing into the 50s. We're up at about 59 degrees later on this afternoon, and that is going to feel quite lovely.
Oh man, if it's anything like the past few days, it's going to feel wonderful.
Yep.
Jeremy, thank you. 7:32 now. Well, new overnight, the House passed a landmark voting rights bill. For the People Act seeks to change campaign finance, voting, and ethics laws. Now, it is opposed by Republicans, and if it passes the Senate, it will be the largest overhaul of the U.S. election law in at least a generation.
The measure would restrict gerrymandering, strike down voting hurdles, and bring transparency to campaign finance. It is now headed to the Senate, where it's expected to face an uphill battle.
Now, our current system allows wealthy donors to anonymously bankroll political causes. And of course, House Resolution 1 touches on virtually every aspect of the electoral process.
Now, it was approved last night on near party lines, 220 to 210 vote, but it does face that uncertain fate in the Democratic-controlled Senate. Republicans can block it because of the procedural rules included in the measure. Another news this morning happening right now, Facebook is lifting its ban on political ads starting today. Tim Pham joins us right now with more. Tim, what exactly does this mean for us?
Well, Joshua, this means you can expect to see political ads popping up again in your Facebook feed starting today. Now, the ban had been in place since the November elections to curb the spread of potential violence and misinformation. Now, this comes amid concerns about right-wing extremists possibly planning violence in Washington, D.C. today. Facebook was one platform that was scrutinized for fanning the flames ahead of the Capitol riot on January 6th. Facebook said at the time the restrictions would be temporary, but didn't give a clear end date.
Well, this morning, here are 3 things to know about coronavirus.
First, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine has been cleared for use in Washington state. Washington did approve the Johnson & Johnson vaccine for use just yesterday, and that's a few days after the FDA authorized the vaccine for emergency use. The Western States Work Group, which is made up of experts from Washington, Oregon, California, and Nevada, approved the vaccine after reviewing its safety and efficacy. Governor Inslee says that with this third vaccine, Washington will be able to hit its goal of vaccinating 45,000 people per day.
Well, second, the COVID-19 death toll in Washington state is reaching a grim milestone. This week, the Department of Health reported more than 5,000 deaths total. Experts report more than 320,000 cases across the state as well. However, the state is making headway on vaccine distribution. It reports experts administered more than 1.7 million doses, and that data includes first and second doses.
Third, some teenagers could also be rolling up their sleeves to get their shot before too long. Let's look at where each vaccine stands in relation to teenagers. The Pfizer vaccine already is cleared for use starting at age 16. That means some high schoolers could get in line for those shots whenever they become available in their area. And that eligibility could be because of a medical condition or the availability of the vaccine. Pfizer and Moderna both have completed enrollment for their studies of children ages 12 and older. That data is expected to be released this summer. In general, though, testing younger groups is more complex because they may require a different dose amount or they could have differing responses.
Well, how much more would you be willing to pay at the pump for cleaner air? Pennies or perhaps 50 cents more per gallon? That is how much critics fear the new statewide fuel standard could cost drivers. Our sister station on the west side explains from our state's capital.
Remember the wildfires in Pierce County last summer? They caused evacuations and destroyed homes. Those risks would be reduced and the air quality would be improved, according to those pushing for a new statewide fuel standard.
To improve our air, to save animals, and to reduce health impacts.
During more than 5 hours of debate,
I think we can do better.
Republicans, like Representative Andrew Barkas, feared requiring cleaner fuels would translate into higher prices for groceries delivered by trucks and would also be passed on to drivers at the pump. He thinks existing fuel standards do enough.
We all want clean water. We all want our children to have a healthy environment to go out and play in. We have the same goals. It's how we get there is where we differ.
Republicans cite a 2019 study done for the Puget Sound Clean Air Agency, which found the new standard could raise the price of gasoline 57 cents per gallon and 63 cents more a gallon for diesel. But those were the worst case scenarios, and the agency does not expect that to be the impact. Democrats backing the bill said it might only add pennies to gas prices, which could be increasing under other proposals. The House is looking to pay for road projects by raising the per gallon price a dime later this year and another 8 cents in 2022. A Senate bill calls for a 6 cent a gallon increase this summer. Those bills are still under negotiation.
Engrossed third substitute House Bill 1091 is declared pass.
The House passed the new fuel standard. It now heads to the Senate, where Majority Floor Leader Mark Elias says they're working to find a way to combine the two issues that could impact gas prices.
That is, I think, what we're all working towards, where we are investing and greening up our transportation sector at the same time.
.38. Now we want to check in with Dana Marie McNichol for what you at home have to say.
That's right, Jen. We're taking a look at the question of the morning. We're asking, would you pay more at the pump for cleaner gas? What you just heard in that story, fewer greenhouse emissions. Let us know what you think by voting or giving us your thoughts. 509-448-2000. We'd love to see what you have to say. We have some coming in right now. Someone said no more gas tax. We have clean air and water. By imposing stricter laws on us doesn't mean we can save the world. But someone on the other side of this argument said, yes, I would pay more at the pump for less greenhouse emissions. I would be willing to pay 25 cents per gallon. All right. Okay. So we're seeing both sides of the argument this morning. Of course, you always have the opportunity to text us your thoughts and join the conversation.
All right, Dana Marie, thank you so much. Well, of course, here at 7:39, we want to show you this next piece of video. It may not look that promising with that explosion, but would you believe me if I told you if that rocket actually stuck the landing? We'll explain more after the break.
We're talking all things March Madness, especially when it comes to the Zag fans believing Gonzaga could go all the way. We'll tell you more about the challenges the NCAA faced after the break.